Chuck and Bob in full uniform, which means something important must be happening today, and indeed it is. We're going to release our 2020 high school football schedule with the understanding that with the COVID pandemic, we can't completely predict the future, but
we've got to be ready.
Yes, and if things pan out, August 21st, we'll be at Jake Field in Dunlap for the first game for the brand new Elkhart High School taking on Concord. Man, Bob, the Lions, as they're now known, import a lot of speed from both Memorial and Central last year.
Yeah, no question about it. Josh Shattuck, who coaches last year at Elkhart Central, got a good look at Memorial. He scouted them. He knows their talent. He knew one thing. They got some blazing speed.
And, of course, they've got that young man, Rodney McGraw, who is committed to Penn State. But Concord, well, Craig Kaler's got some pretty good speed on his team as well. When you take a look at guys like Amarian Moore and Zavan Gultukian, the Minutemen are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the Northern Lakes Conference.
They've always been a big play team, and they'll need that against Elkhart this year.
Both of these teams have to replace quarterbacks, so we'll see who the signal callers are, but that's going to be our matchup on August 21st. What about week 2, August 28th? I don't know if you saw this or not, but there's a new sheriff in town at New Prairie. His name is Casey McKim. What are the Cougars going to look like this year without Russ Radke at the helm, without Chase Ketter at quarterback? Well, Ian Scornog should get a lot of playing time, and New Prairie is at Culver Academy for week 2.
And Scornog is a very good athlete. He played a wide out last year. They just didn't have room for him in that backfield, but he's got good speed. And as long as they've got Whitenack in the offensive line, and he's a big-time player and Division I talent, they're going to be good. And again, Culver Academy and Coach Darrell's going to have a big challenge, but playing at home, playing under the lights on a Friday night down at Culver should be a lot of fun.
Elijah Pack and Jabari Brown, a couple of speedsters on that Culver Academy team. Can't wait. We have not done a game at Oliver Field. I haven't. You did about 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see how that shakes out. Now, week 3, we have 2 games for you. We're going to start on a Thursday night up in Michigan. Could be the first game at the brand new Sylvester Field if they get that done in time. Berrien Springs taking on Constantine. Berrien Springs has a new coach who's an old coach. The 78-year-old Elliot Uzelak takes over.
And he's taken over a program that was successful last year. They went 8-2 last year, and Elliot's been a wonderful gift everywhere he's been. He did a great job at Benton Harbor. He was the head coach of the Naval Academy. Elliot is a gift in our area, and it's fortunate that we get a chance to cover him. But tell you what, Constantine, as you said earlier, is a big secret. A lot of people don't know how well he can play.
Caden Hetmansberger at running back and Braden Clark at receiver. A couple of dynamic juniors on that team. And, of course, Berrien Springs has Marshall McDonald. So we'll show that game Friday night at 7, Saturday morning at 11:30. The Friday night game we'll have will be in Indiana, and we'll be over at Jackson Field for a South Bend City rivalry. Adams takes on a Riley squad that many people think might be the best team in South Bend this year.
And they've got an interim coach situation going on there with Coach Kinsey stepping in. But they have learned how to win. They've learned how to work, and they've learned how to be successful at Riley. And as you said, it could be the best team in the city. Adams desperate for a win. And they had a tough season last year, a lot of injuries. They lose their Division I talented quarterback, but they've got kids back, and maybe the focus will be more on that team-oriented attack.
Ira Armstead now at the University of Virginia, but you talk about Division I athletes. Tyson Lee is one at Riley, and then you've got Commander Jenkins at fullback, Sylvester Orozco, pretty good tight end. Should be a fun night over at Jackson Field. Always a great buzz around those city games. When we put together our schedule, there are certain games that just stand out. You say, we've got to be there that night. Mishawaka has joined the Northern Lakes Conference. The guy that used to coach at Mishawaka now is in the Northern Lakes Conference. His name is Bart Curtis. And on September 11th, Bart will welcome his old buddy Keith Kinder and the Cavemen down to Fisher Field in Warsaw.
And one of the comments you made when we were scouting this show was that this game could be over in about an hour and a half. Both teams like to run the football. Both are very adept at it. Both run the same system. So it's going to come down to execution and who can get it done on a particular play.
Well, you see that young man, Juan Jaramillo, 1,000-yard rusher for Warsaw last year. He'll be back, and then Mishawaka counters with a dynamic quarterback by the name of Justin Fisher. We'll see if he can make Fisher Field his place when Mishawaka pays a visit to the Tigers. Another game that really stands out on the schedule is the following week, September 18th, on the banks of the Elkhart River. We already talked about the Unified Elkhart High School. They're the 7th biggest school in the state. The 6th is over in Granger, where the Penn Kingsmen will pay a visit to Rice Field in a much ballyhooed matchup, and Ron Paulus Jr. back at the helm for Penn.
Yeah, and keep in mind that this Penn program is one of the best records under Corey Yeoman anywhere in the state. And with Paulus back, he's a big, healthy young man. He can throw the ball extremely well. They got to put some pressure on him, and they'll try to do that with McGraw. But I tell you what, if he has time, he's a very, very accurate passer.
And don't underestimate Kyle Riffle at running back for the Kingsmen. He's been strong. They're always good on defense. But tell you what, you put Paulus at quarterback against that secondary that the Lions are going to have for Elkhart. That should be a real fun matchup to watch on September 18th. Now, September 25th is week 6 of the season, and we have left that as TBA, to be announced, on our schedule because, Bob, I don't know about you, but the crystal ball gets a little foggy sometimes, and I like to see who's kind of playing well and maybe give them a reward of being on 46.
You look at some of the teams that at the end of last year, you had a young man that might have been, maybe he's 5'11" and 145 pounds. Now he comes back and he's 6'2" and 180, and he's playing really solid defenses. So what we want to do is wait and see how things are going. What's going on with conference races, the top players? We always do that every year. We cover all the conference playoff games. We cover all the top talent and the coaches and the programs, and looking forward to an open date so we make that choice.
Talking about the teams that we have not seen play each other before, we mentioned that with Mishawaka and Warsaw. Well, with Mishawaka and the NLC, they've got some other strange bedfellows as well. And one time that we haven't seen two teams play to each other is Mishawaka and Northwood. You talk about two teams with great traditions, and this year with great quarterbacks. We mentioned Justin Fisher at Mishawaka, but how about Nate Newcomer coming back to Northwood?
Yeah, Mishawaka is the newcomer to the conference, but Newcomer is the guy that runs the offense for Northwood. And, you know, again, this is a team that loves to run the football. They've gotten to be very physical, very quick all the time. And so Mishawaka will have a challenge there, but it should be, again, a team that almost mirrors what the other team likes to do.
Should be a great Friday night at Jim Andrews Field. Now, week 8, we're looking forward to seeing the new facility that they've built over in Middlebury for the Northridge Raiders. Brand new Raider field. They've got turf, and they've got a team that Tom Wogelman really likes at Northridge taking on this Concord squad that we'll have seen back in week 1. This could be a big game in the Northern Lakes Conference.
No question about it, and really a great commitment to the young people in the school corporation with the new facility, the football, baseball, softball. They've really gone to the great lengths to make it as nice as it can be. And I think you're going to get that reaction from Tom Wogelman and his team that they've worked really hard, they've made progress. This is a team that'll stick you every Friday night, so they're going to have to be ready, but I think they will. 7
starters back on defense for the Raiders this year. Dominic Crowder, a terrific running back. So the Raiders, hoping to make some noise in the NLC, will take on Concord on that Friday night. And then we'll close the regular season with a game that's become somewhat of a staple on the 46 sports slate, and that is the big parochial rivalry between Marion and St. Joe. Wasn't much of a game last year. The Knights completely dominated, and they've got some of those horses back, like Maddox Begonia, the quarterback, and Malcolm Anderson, the running back.
This is a very quick team. They do have to find some receivers, and they've always prided themselves on having a good tight end that can not only catch the ball but can block. So, and defensively, they've got a couple of gaps they got to fill. Check if they can put an offensive line in front of that talent on offense. They should be very good.
The other thing is Marion plays in the NIC North this year for the first time, so we'll see how that goes for them. Meanwhile, St. Joe believes that they have the pieces to rebuild with. They've got a veteran offensive line now, quarterback back with some experience in Matt Eck, and Asante Anglin could be that kind of dynamic playmaker that they have been lacking a little bit of.
I think as a coach, you kind of guide your expectations by what the kids did in the offseason. St. Joe kids have been in the weight room. They're going to have to replace some really good quality seniors who graduated, but this is a program with a lot of pride, and Father Bly will not let them have another tough season.
And of course, that's just the regular season. We'll take you all the way through the playoffs, including those 6 state championship games at Indianapolis's Lucas Oil Stadium. So in case you weren't making all the notes as we went along, here's the full schedule for you. 21 games in all to be seen on TV 46. We hope you'll join us starting August 21st for what we think will be a dynamic 30th high school football season on TV 46.